You listen to the Gary Owen Podcast. Hashtag Get Some. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast. As always, you can listen to this on iTunes or go to YouTube. That's where I prefer you would watch it. YouTube.com/GaryOwenCom. Because you can see my face. Let me just schedule off the top of my head, not in any particular order, but August 30th, I am in Robinsonville, Mississippi, which is basically outside of Memphis at the Horseshoe Casino, a place called Louisville. But I'll be there August 30th. And then the day after that, September 1st, I'm in the Bahamas. So just go to my website, www.GaryOwen.com, and all my tour dates with links so you can get tickets are there. This is the same promoter brought me to the Bahamas a couple years ago. Well, it's been about 6-7 years ago when I performed in the Bahamas. And that was an interesting show because I was on stage, and last time I was in the Bahamas, the casino I was at, it was not the Atlantis, it was not the Bahamar. Bahamar is brand new, by the way. Those are the two dope places to stay in the Bahamas. There's a lot of shitty places to stay in the Bahamas too. This was one of the shittier ones. We didn't know till we got there because the website made this place look amazing. And then I get there, I got my wife, my road manager Brad's got his wife, which was a girlfriend at the time. And I was like, is it me or is this shitty? We moved. Even though the show was at this casino, we moved to like a comfort suites that was right next to the Atlantis. So we weren't in the Atlantis because it was sold out. We were next to it. And that comfort suites was fucking amazing. It felt like a Ritz after being in that shithole casino hotel. And I'm not going to say it because I don't want to shit on the casino because they did take care of me and paid me, but it wasn't good. And it was so long ago, you guys can't find it. You're not going to be able to find where I was at staying. And so what I remember about that show is I go on stage and it was running late. And the promoter's like, yeah, here in the Bahamas, everything's late. So if it's supposed to start at 9, it didn't start till damn near 10. So I didn't get on stage till dang near midnight. And so my first 15 minutes, I was like, why isn't anybody laughing? I mean, I was getting nothing but like a couple chuckles from the front of the crowd. And then all of a sudden, 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, they started laughing. Not like destroying the room laughing, but laughing like they're at a comedy show. And I couldn't figure out why. So I get off stage after an hour and I looked at my wife and she goes, yeah, they couldn't hear you the first 15, 20 minutes. I go, what? And this is, now Brad is my road manager and he's been hired and fired 3 or 4 times in my career. We've been together over 10 years. This was one of the times Brad got fired. I'll tell you why. So I'm dying up there basically, and I can't figure out why. And Kenya, my wife, said, well, I'm going to tell you what happened. This is why you were dying up there. The audience couldn't hear you. The sound was messed up. Like you sounded muffled everywhere. The speakers just wasn't working right. And she told Brad, my wife told Brad, you just going to let your man die up there? And Brad goes, So she goes, I think you should find somebody who works in the theater. So Brad walked around, came back like 5 minutes later and went, I couldn't find anybody. And Kenya, my wife, goes, so what's the plan? And Brad goes, I don't know. Kenya went, and this is my wife, the problem-solving motherfucker that she is. She went in the casino and paged the engineer. The engineer, whatever they can announce it, blah, 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 the engineer, she was like, come to the front desk. So the engineer meets my wife at the front desk and went to the soundboard, and literally somebody had turned down my mic or the speakers. So that's why nobody could hear me. I was getting a couple laughs in the front row, but not a lot. Literally, Kenya goes, the guy went, whoop, like you see in the movies when they're in the studio, just hit the one knob. She goes, it was one button, Gary. He put the volume up, and everybody could hear you. Everybody started laughing. And I guess in the Bahamas, whereas in the United States, you might be getting heckled or getting yelled at, or I guess they're a lot more polite and a lot more laid back. So they were just dealing with it, I guess. And then when everybody could hear me, oh, fuck. We just felt an earthquake. Yo. Did you feel that? Yeah, was that an earthquake? That was an earthquake. Holy shit. We're taping this episode, but we just felt an earthquake. This episode's taped because I'm in Winnipeg right now shooting a movie. So this episode is taped, but we just felt a fucking earthquake. So when you hear this episode in a couple weeks, just know we taped this a few weeks ago. We just felt a fucking earthquake in the middle of the podcast. If this would have been live, that'd have been so dope. But my whole house just shook. That's crazy. I forgot what I was talking about. We literally just felt an earthquake. So anyways, yeah, cat's out of the bag. This episode is taped. I'm in Winnipeg, Canada right now shooting a movie with Michael Jai White. So we had to tape a couple episodes before I left. So this episode's taped, and in the middle of this taping, I just felt an earthquake. Everybody just felt it. I mean, literally, my house just shook. It felt like God farted right on my house, like. It's such a helpless feeling, an earthquake. So anyways, before we got rudely interrupted by nature, my wife, like, it was like the engineer put one finger, put up the volume, and everybody could hear me. So, what do you call it? She goes, Kenya just goes, so I just want you to know, Brad was going to let you die up there. And I looked at Brad and go, Brad, and he goes, yeah, I just didn't know. I go, okay. So then I called him like a week later. I said, man, this might not be the right job for you. I said, you're just going to let me die up there. And then, I let him go. And then, of course, I hired him back a couple months later because he's Brad. I can't let him go. So we live and we learn. And he would never let that happen again. But that was one of the times he got let go. And it was funny because as I was thinking about the Bahamas and I was thinking about this show, it reminded me of a couple weeks ago, I did Eric Griffin's podcast. And Eric Griffin, and if you watch his podcast on YouTube or iTunes or wherever, he brought me on the show. He really wanted to get into my backstory and how I became a stand-up and how I was today. It ended up, we spent the whole episode talking about road horror stories. And there was a couple that I had forgotten about. But when you get on a roll, then they all start coming. And I remember two off the bat, off the top of my head, that were early. I'm talking about before I was ever on TV type deal. One, I had this manager who I fired. I had him for about 6-7 months, and I fired him. And this is one of the reasons. Both these shows were from this particular manager who now sells insurance on the East Coast. He's not even in the entertainment business anymore. But this should have been the writing on the wall. Okay, so the first gig he got me was Lake Havasu, Arizona. And I'm the opener. So I'm literally getting probably $100. And I might be generous. I might have got 50 or 75. And this comic shows up at my apartment in LA and like rings the buzzer. I buzz him up. He comes into my apartment and he's a not an old Jewish guy, but he was probably late 30s, early 40s. And here I am, early 20s. And he just hops in my truck, and I'm like, oh, so I'm thinking I'm driving. I'm making less money, right? So he gets in my car, and then we're driving to Lake Havasu, which is 4 hours, I guess, from LA. He starts changing the radio station in my truck, and I'm like, what the fuck's he doing? Then he starts messing with the air conditioner, and not asking, and I'm like, this fucking guy. So then so this is what I don't know about Lake Havasu. I don't know there's a California exit to Lake Havasu, and then there's an Arizona exit. The Arizona exit is the exit you want to get off. That's where the restaurants and hotels and party scene is when Lake Havasu's jumping. Now, they do comedy. It was doing comedy at this little restaurant off-season. They wouldn't do it during the season because nobody'd be there. Everybody'd be out partying. But the off-season time for Lake Havasu, they do comedy shows on like a Wednesday night, let's say. And they brought in all kinds of different comics. And they put you up at the little resort right on the water. It was decent, right? And So I don't know. And this is before GPS. I got an S10 pickup. There's no Waze. There's no cell phones. You're just at the mercy of the person you're riding with and the radio and the CDs you have to entertain you. And this guy keeps changing the fucking station. And I'm looking at him, and but I'm a young comic. So I don't know the rules of this business yet. So if it's just some dude I don't know, I'm telling him stop changing the radio station. But I'm thinking this guy's been doing it a while. I don't know if he has any pull in this business. I'm trying to be very diplomatic, but he's starting to get on my nerves. And then he starts messing with the temperature of my truck. And it's one thing to be like, hey, man, you mind if I turn the air down or something like that? But when you start doing it, that's damn near disrespectful. So then I pull off on the California side of Lake Havasu, which is basically Mad Max. There's nothing on that side. And we're just driving. And now I'm low on gas. And I'm like, where the fuck is a gas station? We're in the middle of the desert. My truck runs out of gas. So I'm like, okay. And we're coasting up and down these little hills. And it's just like, I don't know how far we are to the lake. I just see there's nothing in sight. So car stops. We're on the side of the road, and I'm like, God damn it. I'm younger than him. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to start walking. I'm going to run. I'm going to follow this highway. I'm not going to get off the highway until I find something. And then he's like, all right, well, I'll stay with the car. And then he tried to imply like it's my fault. He goes, you ran out of gas? I said, you could have drove. So now we're tense, but we don't want to be mad because we're in the middle of the fucking desert. So I start walking and I'm jogging. I don't see a car at all. And I'm looking at it and we end up timing. It was about 2.5 miles is how far we were to the water, to the lake where there was a gas station. But keep in mind, on the California side, there's nothing but boat docks. And there was one little gas station restaurant type deal. This is like 1997, 98. And so I'm not lying. I could see the dock and the water now. So I'm almost there. I'm not far. I'm probably, less than a half a mile from civilization, basically. And I'm early 20s, so this didn't really bother me that much, honestly. And then as soon as I'm not exaggerating, 400 yards from the gas station thing, here comes this fucking guy in the back of somebody's pickup. He just flies right by me. They don't even pick me up. He waves, and I'm like, what the? So then I get there, and he got these guys to give him a ride, and they're laughing that we ran out of gas. And I buy the fucking plastic gas thing, I remember, and to put gas in. So I buy that, get $5 worth of gas to put in it. Then these guys in the pickup drove us back to my truck, and we put gas in, and I was able to drive the rest of the way. But at no point did he offer to pay for anything. And then, so now I don't like this dude at all. So then I go up before him, and I get paid, and granted, I think it was $100. And at this point, I'm already got gas, all that other stuff. And I did remember telling him we'll split gas. So I will say that. We did split the gas. Now, he didn't pay for that gas can, but we split the gas to fill up my car. And so then we get to the show, and as soon as the show's over, he asked me, hey, I got to leave in the morning. I got to leave early. I'm single, bro. It's Lake Havasu. I've never been here. I'm going out. So fuck you getting up early. You should have drove. So now I'm done with them. I said, all right. So I put do not disturb on my door, and I told this before cell phones, so you can't call cell phone. You got to call the room. I told the lady, hold on my calls. The only person to be calling me was this dude. So I'm out, and I went out, had a good time that night. Probably came in 2-3 in the morning. This guy, not only is he pounding on my door, but we have a sliding glass door that leads to they got a little beach. We were right on the water there, and he's knocking on the sliding glass door, and I could I'm up at this point. I could see him trying to look in my room, and I'm like, fuck him. I'm not getting up. I'm not trying to move. We left at like 11 a.m., and I remember him saying he wanted to be on the road by 7. And Let me tell you, if he would have been cool, I would have got up and went. But the fact that he pulled all this BS and you being a headliner, you should have drove. Let's be honest. Or if you're going to ask the feature to drive, you should pay for all the gas because you're making more money. You're not putting wear and tear on your car. So the fact that I had to I didn't ask him. I told him we're splitting the gas. And I think I did it like, let's say $4. Hey man, give me $20. I'm gonna go fill up. It's gonna be $40 to fill. I'm gonna put $40 in my tank. And I just remember he was reluctant in that. So he didn't want to come out of pocket for anything. And then he wanted me to get up early so we can get back to LA. Suck my dick, dude. I'm not getting up early. I waited till checkout, 11 a.m. Then I got in the car and I remember I was so happy on the drive back. We didn't speak at all because he was steaming. He was so mad. And I played music that I knew he didn't like. I think he was more of a classic rock type dude. Oh, I played Backstreet and Tupac and Biggie loud. The ghettoer, the better. The whole way back. I remember because the one Blackstreet song I must have played about 5 times because I had the CD. Nah, baby, nah, baby, nah, baby, no. Mm-mm. If you take your love away, I'll go crazy. I'll go insane. Dun 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 dun, and I'm singing it. Dun 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 dun. I wish it would have been a camera in the car because he was so pissed. But I didn't give a shit because he was a dick the night before. So that manager booked that. And it was funny because, and not to sound conceited, but I was way funnier than him too. Because I don't know where that guy is today. But I remember they brought me back to headline like 7-8 months later. That same little hole in the wall, not even comedy club, that restaurant that brought comedians, they brought me back to headline. And I brought my buddy Johnny Mack, who this is going to be a great segue to my next story. Johnny Mack is like one of Jamie Foxx's good friends and helps write with Jamie and all that other stuff. But Johnny Mack's from the Bay, but he's one of the first guys I met when I moved to LA. So he goes by Johnny motherfucking Mack is what he likes to call it. But Johnny Mack, I took him to that same comedy club like 7-8 months later, something like that. And I just remember Johnny Mack's a brother, black dude, dreads, he's black power, man. He is black power. We go to Lake Havasu. We go to a karaoke bar after the show. This dude's singing B-52's Love Shack. And I go, and I remember we were up there singing together. The Love Shack is a little. And I remember I looked at him right with like an instrument. I go, sell out. I go, oh, if all your homies in Oakland could see you now. But I took him with me, man. We had a good time that weekend too. And that was I just remember the whole drive to Lake Havasu. Me and Johnny Mack was running my lines because I had an audition for Held Up. Jamie had got me an audition for Held Up, and he said, like Monday was the audition, and this was like Friday or Saturday. We were driving to Lake Havasu. And I just remember we ran my lines the whole way there and the whole way back. We were just running my lines for the movie Held Up. And then I got the part. So that was great. That was cool on Johnny Mack's part. But god dang, he was a sellout. Singing B-52s. And this is a brother with dreads from Oakland. Like black power brother, Johnny Mack. Till you get him in Lake Havasu with all them white women. B-52s sounded like Tupac to Johnny that night. And then here's what's funny. So then this same manager that I have, so I must have had him, this must have all took place within 6 months. Yeah, they brought me back like 6 months later because I didn't have my first manager for over a year. I had him less than a year. So then this same manager books me at this place called the Brass Ring in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'll never forget it. So I bring Johnny Mack to open for me again, and we get to Kansas City. We both flew Southwest together. Like I think I got paid. I remember I got paid $500. That was it. So I had to get myself there, and then they were going to get me a hotel room. So it was $500. That's it. Get the airline ticket. And so I got the airline ticket, and Johnny went with me. And I don't know what they were giving Johnny. I I don't know. But anyways, Johnny goes with me, and they try to put us in the same hotel room. I'll never forget, the promoter picked us up, and he tried to put us in the same room, and I went, oh, we're not roommates. This ain't no slumber party. He goes, I thought you two knew each other. I said, we do, but we're not living together. And then, he leaves. Like, he's like, all right, this is it, man. He left, so I called my manager, Ken. And, I just said his name. Ken was his first name. I called my manager, Ken, and I'm like, yo, man, they trying to put us in the same room, man. We're not roommates. We need our own hotel rooms. So Ken goes, let me call them. So he calls the guy. He calls me back and goes, hey, man, that guy's crazy. You guys, if you want to get on a plane and head back to L.A., I'd do that. And I'm like, that's your answer? So I end up calling the dude and just explaining to him, because he had never did a comedy show before. So I'm just explaining to him, this isn't how it works, man. Every comic gets their own room. You don't book shows and book. He goes, man, I just thought you two knew each other. I'm not, the tickets ain't moving like I thought. So I'm already taking an L. I said, look, man, I feel your pain, but look, there's two things we can do right now. I said, I'm going to go home. I'm not going up, or just get the other room, dude. I said, and I'm trying to tell him, dude, there'll probably be a good walk up. You know what I mean? And then I'm trying to be like, the entire budget for this show was less than $1,000. Let's just be honest. It's not make or break here. Like, all in is so I told him, I said, so you basically got to make $1,000 at the door to break even. Tickets are $20. I'm trying to do the math with this dude. I'm like, so basically you got to sell 50 tickets? You got to sell 50 tickets to break even. So he was like, yeah, all right, yeah. Okay. So we end up getting Johnny another room, and when I'm thinking 55 people were there. So I convinced them 50, but I think 55 showed up. But honestly, we had a good time with that crowd. Ended up being a decent night. But I had to let go of that manager not too long after that. The fact that his solution was, he's crazy. You guys might want to get on a plane and come home. I went, what? Now, this is the same guy. This is the same manager that when I got the deal with BET, my first Comic View deal, they offered me it was a terrible amount. He goes, that's just the first offer. We're going to negotiate. And then he called me back later. It's take it or leave it, bro. I was like, holy shit, this guy is not the manager for me. So I just remember those were two brief horror stories in the beginning. And then once I got on TV, and then you should have less horror stories once you become an established headliner. Most of your road horror stories in the beginning, because honestly, you need the money. You don't have a lot of leverage to negotiate, and you're so afraid to say no because rent's due and car payments are due and things like that. So a lot of people, when you go on the road, they'll ask you, what's your favorite city, man? What's your favorite city to perform in? And that's such a loaded question because it varies crowd to crowd. It's not so much the city, it's what club's good and stuff. Now, I will say the worst comedy club I ever had, and it was a little bit of both the staff and the what do you call it? The audience was Evansville, Indiana. Evansville, Indiana had a funny bone probably 12, 13, 14 years ago. And I just remember I went there and nobody laughed at the host or the opener. I remember it was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It wasn't a Thursday show. It was 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 1 Sunday. And honestly, they could have did 1 show a night the first time I went there. It was that bad. And I just remember it was nobody laughed the whole night. Like the host went up, nothing. The feature went up, nothing. Then I go up and I'm not getting any laughs. And I just told the crowd, I said, hey man, this is it, guys. They're the cable guys not walking through that door. And then one guy stood up and goes, whoa! Those are big shit. Those are big. What's he say? Those are big shoes to fill, man. Or fucker, whatever he said. And then I just was like, oh, this is going to be a long weekend. And I do remember I went to Longhorn Steakhouse one night before my show. And I told the opener, I said, look, man, look around. Here's what I go. Ain't nobody talking. Everybody was either eating or waiting on their food. But it literally was a restaurant of silence. It was just all the dudes were sitting there with their hands on their gut and just waiting for their food and their wives there. And that's the first time I had dealt with like a out and out, like not the first time, it was one of the most obvious, like, somebody didn't like me because I was white, a black dude in Evansville. Because in Evansville, I guess it's right on the borderline of Indiana and Kentucky. So there's not much to do in Evansville. So after my show one night, somebody said there's a late night gas station / fried chicken restaurant inside the gas station. I said, I'm down. Let's go eat. So whoever took me there, I don't know who took me there. I can't remember. Somebody from Evansville took me there. And we go there, and I go in. I'm in line to order my chicken and / gas station. And all of a sudden, this gas station / chicken spot is the hangout for all the black. It was all black people hanging out at this restaurant / fried chicken place. And but it was like pickups, everything. It was like, remember Boys in the Hood when everybody's just hanging out with the cars? It was like that, just a Kentucky version. And I'm just this one white guy. And as I'm in line, these 3 black girls were staring at me, and I wasn't as popular as I am now, but I still had a recognizable face. And then they just said, "Hey, are you a comedian? You've been on TV?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then they start freaking out and they want a picture. So I get my food. I'm walking out to the car for the guy to take me back to my hotel. And as I'm walking out to my car, this one brother is on the side of his pickup. His hands are like this. And the girl said, Gary, come here. I want you to be my boyfriend. So I walk over. I extend my hand. He don't shake my hand. He just looks at me. And I was like, oh. So then I just kind of took my hand. And then she hit him on the side of his arm. She goes, "This is the guy I was telling you about." So he shook my hand reluctantly, he did not want to shake it. And the vibe was bad. I mean, he wasn't feeling me at all. And then the girl said, and then as I just walk away, I was like, okay, I don't want to be part of this. I walked away. She hit him. She goes, "Why you act like that?" He goes, "I ain't hating nothing." He goes, "I just don't watch BET." And I was like, I never said I was on BET. So I was like, so you were hating, because it never came out of my mouth I was on BET. So he goes, "I ain't hating, I just don't watch BET." I was like, oh, so maybe you were hating, unless she told him. But I was just like, dang, what does that have to do with anything as far as you shaking my hand? And the crazy part was, when I was telling people, when I was at the gas station that night, some more people came up to me and was like, "What are you doing here?" When I told them I was at the Funny Bone, they was saying shit like, "Oh, we don't fuck with that place. No, we ain't going there." I was like, dang, is it that bad in Evansville? And it was crazy because I didn't notice it until then. I was like, dang, I really didn't notice. That was one of the few weekends I didn't see many black people at my show at all. And then I was like, and then when I went out, I would see all black people at one place, or white people were everywhere, but all the black people stayed in certain places. I never saw a few black people over here or over there. Now, granted, I didn't go to University of Evansville's campus either. I'm sure the college is different. But as far as townies, it was strange. I didn't see black people anywhere where white people were. It was the black people hung out in these certain spots, then the white people hung out in these certain spots. It was weird. Now, I did go back 2 years later, and it was a little better. And my name had gotten a little bigger, and then there were black people on my show. I only performed there twice, the first time and the second time. Now, what was funny was the second time I went to Evansville at the Funny Bone. The first time I drove myself down there because I was living in Cincy, and I can't remember where I stayed. I can't remember. Or no, you know what? I'm sorry. This was the first time I went down there. First time I went there, I wasn't living in Cincy yet. I was still in LA. Second time, I just drove myself down. But the first time, I remember I got off the plane. The lady picked me up, and she tried to take me to a Days Inn to stay. And I was like, oh, I'm not staying here. It was a shithole Days Inn. And I remember thinking, I'm not staying here. And she was not happy. She was acting like I was a prima donna because I didn't want to stay at this shitty ass Days Inn. And people don't realize when we're on the road, even starting out, man, it's basically for safety that we need a hotel with a lobby. and cameras, because if you stay in a hotel where you just go directly into the room, I mean, you got to realize when you're first starting out, this is a cash business stand-up early on. So if people know you got a couple $100 on you, and then if you sell DVDs, T-shirts, anything after the show, that's usually cash too. So, you know, $400 or $500 in somebody's pocket, that's a lot of money to people that are robbing people. I will say that. Because if you at the point you robbing somebody, you're kind of desperate for money. So that's just a safety hazard. Like there was a guy named T-Ray, not D-Ray, T-Ray. And he got shot and almost died in Columbus, Ohio about 5-6 years ago because of that reason. He left his show and he got paid, and I guess somebody staked him out. And as soon as he got back to his room, somebody just came to his door and busted in and shot him like 4 times and took all his money. And it's almost like they knew he got paid that night from the comedy club, because that particular comedy club promoter was putting him at a hotel that, like a Days Inn, where you just went straight to the room, no lobby. So I see this Days Inn, and it's a shithole. It's not, it's a shithole. And then that makes it sound nice. And I told her, I said, I can't stay here. So I get on the phone with my agent, and I was like, she's in the car listening to me. I go, hey, I don't know what the contract says, but she's trying to put me at a Days Inn, and I'm not going to stay here. I said, so, I really want to perform here, but I can just leave if that's the case. And then she's not happy. So we got to sit in the car for this awkward 30 minutes of silence. And then she gets a phone call, and then they made her take me over to the Marriott. There's one Marriott in Evansville at this time, right by the airport. Literally sits in the middle of a field, nothing around it. And she takes me to the Marriott, and when she takes me over there, and now I'm trying to smooth things over with her and be cool, and I'm like, hey, I go, I just want you to know this is, I have a nice house, and when I leave the house, I just want to be comfortable because I want to give you a good show. I'm trying to be diplomatic about all this. And then right when she's about to drop me off, I said, I'm kind of hungry, and I'm thinking we'll go to lunch. She goes, well, if you would have stayed the Days Inn, there was a Wendy's right across the street. Bye. And just left me. I go, oh, shit. Did she just leave me? So I was literally at the mercy of room service, which, by the way, that Marriott in Evansville, Indiana did have some great chicken Caesar salads, because I ate one every day that week because I'm a creature of habit. So I ate one. It was good. I said, why risk it? I'm just going to keep eating this every day. I ate it every day. So yeah, that was Evansville, Indiana was a kind of a nightmare story. Now, a couple other nightmare stories that I shared with Eric on his podcast, or maybe I didn't, I don't know. But it's funny, like I've been doing this well over 20 years. So when me and Eric were talking on his podcast about horror stories, I go, God, we sound like we're prima donnas. But really, it's not. It's because these are all minor stories in the big scheme of things. I've never been shot. Like T-Ray's got a horror story. These are all just minor things about being on the road and when you're first starting out too. Now I remember I did Crackers in Indianapolis, Indiana. And this is what's funny about this weekend. This is 2000. I'll tell you when it was. It was the week the Paris Hilton sex tape got released. Because here's what makes this weekend funny. I had never performed in Indy before. I was excited about being at this comedy club. I heard good things about it. So I go there, and the Paris Hilton sex tape got released like 2 days before I get there. And now it's everywhere. And there's this radio show called Bob and Tom. And they're basically the white version of Tom Joyner, is what it comes down to. They're syndicated. Their fans are loyal, everything. So they got me on the show, and they're talking about the Paris Hilton sex tape before they introduced me. So they go, yeah, we got comedian Gary Owen on. So I just jump right into the conversation. I start talking about the Paris Hilton sex tape with them. And then I made sure I didn't say suck dick or blowjob, because I figure it's morning radio. So I said sucking penis. I thought that was okay. I said sucking penis. And so we go to commercial break, and I don't know which one, Bob or Tom, but this dude scolded me like I was a kid. He goes, hey man, you can say suck and you can say penis, but you can't say it together. You can't say suck penis. And I started laughing at him. I said, man, that was like the electric company. Remember when they used to do the 2 words and they put it together? It was like snake. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I said, that was like the electric company. He goes, hey, man, I'm not. And he raised his voice at me. He goes, hey, I'm not kidding. He goes, if we get fined by the FCC, this could be really bad for us and your career. And I went, oh, I'm doing fine without you. And then that didn't go over well. I wasn't even on the air when they came back from commercial break. They went to commercial like Gary Owen. We'll be right back with Gary Owen. We came back. I was gone. I was off the air. So I'm still laughing about it. That I got kicked off the radio show, but nobody knew I got kicked off. But I got kicked off. Like as soon as I said, "Oh, I'm doing fine without you," that he was done with me. I'd never been back on. And so the weekend goes by. We have a great weekend at Crackers. I mean, the crowds were good numbers. Everybody was laughing. I enjoyed everything about that weekend. And all of a sudden I get back and I get a phone. My agent gets a phone call from the GM, and she was like, I don't know what her name is. I think it was Mary Ann, something like that. It was literally like a Gilligan's Island name. Ginger or Mary Ann, something like that. And she was like, yeah, we don't think we're going to have Gary back again. And I've never been back to Crackers since. And they're like, why? And she goes, well, he said fuck 38 times within an hour. And I was like, you got to be shitting me. Okay. I go, hold on. And I'm just making this number up. But her reason for not bringing me back was I said fuck too much on stage. And if anybody has ever seen my stand-up, whether it be my specials on TV or live, I curse, but it's not overkill. Let's not get it twisted. And I'm not a disgusting comic. I ain't talking about coming on people's faces and nasty shit. I'm the family guy. But I might cuss and do some sex jokes, but I'm kind of a family comic, like the dirty uncle comic. But I was like, the fact that she had sitting back of the room and to say she counted how many times I said fuck in an hour is not normal, by the way. And what it came down to was Bob and Tom is a big supporter of Crackers Comedy Club in Indy. And she had to come up with a reason why not to bring me back, because she couldn't say it was because I didn't sell tickets. She couldn't say it was because the crowd wasn't laughing. And she couldn't say I was hard to work with because I gave nobody anything. I did nothing all weekend. I just came, did my shows, and I left. And it was crazy because it was kind of passive aggressive, because when I settled, she was nice to me all weekend. The GM there, she was polite. I liked her. But then when she said, yeah, we're not having him back. And that was the reason. I was like, what? It's funny how comedy clubs come up with certain comedy clubs. Now you do improvs and most Funny Bones. Now that's a corporate run company. So they get it. Make the comedians happy, and the weekend will be happy. Everybody will be happy. The crowds will be happy. They'll give good shows. So just accommodate the comedians within reason. I mean, some comedians are prima donnas, but within reason, just make them happy. So it reminded me of, I did Shreveport, Louisiana. They had a Funny Bone years ago. And this Funny Bone came and went so fast. And I knew it was going to happen because I was like the second comic they brought in. Like 2007, I'm thinking this was. 2007, 2008. And so I go there, and the club was nice. It was big, but it felt brand new. It's like comedy clubs sometimes have an odor about them or a worn feel about them. Like, oh, there's been a lot going on in this club through the years. This one felt brand new. It smelt new. It just smelled like a new building. And they had like an aquarium over here. They had a New Orleans Saints helmet over here. They had like a Ronald McDonald statue over here. There was beads. It was a beautiful room, but they were trying to do like a Mardi Gras / comedy club feel. And so I get on stage, and the first thing I say is, I'm trying to figure out the theme to this comedy club because there was a lot going on. And I had made fun of the room a little bit. All in good fun though. And I get off stage after my first show, and the guy goes, hey man, can I talk to you for a minute? He takes me back to the manager's office. He goes, hey man, I might be a little sensitive right now, but hey man, you went a little hard on the club, man, and I built this with my bare hands. So maybe I'm just being sensitive. I go, oh, whoa. I said, hold on. You have a comedy club and you don't expect anybody to talk about it at all. I go, whoa. I said, I'm just saying, I said, dude, you're being a little sensitive right now. I said, all my put downs were in good fun. At no point did I go, this place fucking sucks. I'll never be back here, and nasty, and the staff. I said, I was making fun of the theme. You got a Ronald McDonald statue and a New Orleans Saints helmet and Mardi Gras beads in a fucking aquarium. I'm just trying to figure out what the goal was here. You know what I mean? I remember I'd said something like, it feels like a Papados. That's what I said. It feels like a transgender Papados or something. Like it couldn't figure out. Do we want to serve fish or party or something? Something like that. And I just remember the guy and I was just thinking, so I did the rest of the weekend, didn't say shit about the club. Because I wanted to get my check and leave. And I'll never forget, Bill Bellamy was there the week before me because I saw the little flyer they got. I was there, and the week after me was Eddie Griffin. And I remember thinking, if they think I'm bad, wait till Eddie Griffin gets here. And sure enough, Eddie Griffin had the cops called on him the next week because I made sure I made friends with some of the people at the Comic Con. I wanted to find out because I knew immediately when that guy pulled me aside, I go, he don't even know what's coming next week. I'm the nice guy. Eddie's coming. If you would have pulled Eddie Griffin into your room, you'd be like, well, fuck you, motherfucker. Went off on him. Sensitive ass little bitch. Say what I want to say. You hired me to talk. You shut the fuck up and run the club. I'm going to talk. And sure enough, I heard Eddie Griffin didn't make it through the weekend. I heard the cops got called on him, all because of the manager. Didn't know that club didn't last very long. I'll put it that way. It came and went quick. I was like, you can't be sensitive at a comedy club. You the GM? Gee, that's what comedians do. We bag on shit. We bag on ourselves. I bag on myself half the time. Yeah. Now I will say I'll do two more horror stories, and then we'll wrap this episode up. One was, I'll never forget, Louisville, Kentucky. There was a comedian named Spike. Well, still was a comedian named Spike Davis. He had a room, and I'd heard about this room in the past. Like it's a comedy club / club. So it's a one-nighter. So what it is people come for the jokes, but then they just pull the chairs out and it becomes a nightclub. So the later the show goes, the harder it gets because people start coming to go to the nightclub. They didn't give a shit about the comedy show. This is one of those nights. So his night was on a Wednesday, and I'll never forget it. It was the night before Thanksgiving, which is a huge party night. One of the biggest party nights in the country is the night before Thanksgiving. So the show's supposed to start at 8, started a little late. And I remember J.J. Williamson was on the show with me, and J.J.'s hysterical. I think he's probably one of the funniest comics in the country that a lot of people aren't familiar with. But J.J. Williamson, who's opened up for Cedric for years, he's one of my favorites and a good guy off the stage too. If I'm near, he lives in Mississippi. Every time I'm near Mississippi, he calls me and we go out to lunch or whatever. Just on hangout stuff, not wanting anything, no agenda, just a good guy. But he opened for me that night, and I remember the show already started late. So then JJ did his time, and now I'm on stage, and it's starting to get rowdy because now you got people that are in front of the stage for the comedy club, but on the side where the bar is, now people are starting to build up. And now it's a huge party night too. And I start bagging on this guy in the audience. I think it was more towards the bar. So I'm winning because I got the microphone. So I said, I remember saying something like, well, come on stage, man. We can play the dozens if you don't think it's fair that I got a mic. And I turned around, and to my right, there were two brothers right in front of me. And they looked like two dudes that didn't have shit to lose. They had all the gold fronts. They wanted to let everybody know they were wearing Gucci or Louis Vuitton because they made sure the belts was out. I think they had like a Pel jacket, Pelly, something like that. It was just, they looked like they didn't have a lot to lose. And they were just staring at me. And it wasn't like a ha-ha, funny shit, let's scare them. It was, we about to fuck you up stare. And I know the difference. I swear to God, I broke the long jump record. I saw those brothers and I jumped off the stage. The DJ booth was on the side of the stage. I jumped into the DJ booth. I cleared it because they had the little glass thing up here. I cleared the glass and I still got the mic. So I'm still talking to them. So they threw these guys out the front, right? I say goodnight. I'm out. They escorted me, and I got my money as soon as I got there. Spike is a legit comedian promoter, so I got my money. They escorted me out the back of this comedy club / club. Let's just say club. The guy, I'm in this truck. He pulls up an unmarked vehicle. So he's an undercover cop. I get in his car, right? And they picked me up from my hotel. So I didn't drive myself to the spot. And he's got his gun out on his lap driving. This is some Kentucky shit. He's got his gun out, driving me back. And I'm like, why is your gun out? And I'm in the back seat. I'm sorry. There's two guys riding with me now, and I'm in the back seat. And the one guy's got his gun on his lap. The driver does. And he's telling me, he goes, man, we're just playing it safe. You know, those guys, they come here, they start a little trouble. And I'm just making sure, we don't want nothing happening, because he was saying they're waiting to shut us down. I go, what do you mean they're waiting to shut you down? I guess they were saying a lot of times you'll get a quote unquote black night, and it's like the first sign of trouble, they'll shut the shit down because they're just blaming everybody. And a lot of times it's just one or two knuckleheads when 90% of the people are cool. And that's what this night was. I never took it like, fuck those people that came in, weren't listening to me. I was like, I get it. The people that were there, we had a good time for an hour, but now it's getting late, and these people, their chatter at the bar was overriding me with the microphone. I was getting like crazy, and it was just time to get off. And just right when I was about to get off, this shit happened. So he took me back to the hotel, and he goes, Gary, you good? I said, yeah, but I'm not staying here tonight. I was like, you guys just wait here. I went up to my room, and those guys waited right by my car. I got my car, I drove my ass back to Cincinnati that same night. I didn't even try to stay all night. And if anybody see J.J. Williamson, just ask him about the night before Thanksgiving in Louisville, Kentucky with Gary Owen. And I don't know what year it was. The 2007, 8, I don't know. It was a while ago. It was before Think Like a Man. So just ask JJ, hey, whatever happened? Were you there in Louisville when Gary got basically ran out by two thugs off the stage and broke the long jump record, got escorted out the back? And then here's what's funny about the whole story. Spike calls me like 3 days later and goes, hey, man, they love you down here, man. They want to have you back. I was like, I will never be back in that fucking club, Spike. That was a one and done, baby. The fact that he called, hey, man, sorry about the other night, but they love you down here, man. They want to have you back. Fuck you. That was the first and last time I was at that club. I don't even know what that club was. Yeah. So I'll tell you, this was I'll end with this. I'll end the podcast with this story. One of the craziest nights I ever had in stand-up, and not wild, like shit happened. It was just circumstances, was my brother had passed away May 20th, 2015. And I'm home the day he died, May 20th, and then I'm home the 21st. But the next 2 days, I have a show. One is in Biloxi, Mississippi that weekend. And the next time I'm in I'm where I'm at August 30th. I'm in Robinsonville. But I wasn't at the Horseshoe Casino. I was at another casino. And so I get to this casino. So I'm in Biloxi the night, and I'm in Biloxi on Friday night, and then Saturday night I'm in Robinsonville, Mississippi, which is basically Tunica. I'm sorry, let's just say Tunica. I'm in Tunica, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis. So I fly from Biloxi to Memphis. By the time I get to the casino in Tunica, it's 30 minutes till showtime. So I don't have time to like do anything in my room. I basically brushed my teeth, washed my face. I went downstairs to the casino. It was time for the show. So I do the show. I perform. It's fine. Show was great. I go back to my room, and my buddy Nate, who lives in Memphis, he comes up to the room, and I think we're going to run and get something to eat or something. I think we're going to go gamble or something. So he just said, hey, man, I got to use the bathroom real quick. I said, all right. So at this point, I'm just sitting on the couch watching TV. So I had a suite. So I had a bedroom and a living room. So the casino isn't that great. It's kind of shitty, but they paid and the crowds are good. And Nate goes, hey man, have you slept here yet? I go, no, I didn't do anything. I dropped my bags off and went down the room. Went down to the showroom. He said, come here. He lifts the towel. There's 4 towels above the toilet by the shower. He lifts the towels up. There's all these bugs in between the towels. I go, woo, like my hair is standing up now just remembering that night. I go, what the fuck? We pull back the sheets in the bed because I haven't been in the bed yet. There's bugs everywhere. These were Jurassic Park bed bugs and just regular insects. And then we start looking around the room. They're fucking everywhere. They're on the seat cushions. Now I'm like, I'm freaking out. So I said, I can't stay here. So we leave the room immediately, take all my stuff to Nate's car. And I said, I'll just stay in Memphis tonight. It's about 45 minutes to Memphis. So as we're driving back to Memphis, I'm on the phone calling every hotel I can. They're all booked. I don't know what was going on that weekend in May in Memphis, but every hotel was booked. There wasn't a hotel. And we started high and was going lower. There just wasn't a hotel. So the Westin, downtown Memphis, right across the street from the FedEx Forum, said, okay, we don't have a room tonight, but we got one tomorrow. So I had 2 nights at this casino. I had Saturday and Sunday. So I was like, well, now it's like 3 a.m. So I'm like, well, so I can get in Sunday night, but not Saturday night. They go, no. I said, all right, I'm just going to come and I'll just take Sunday night. And I told Nate, I was like, dude, I'll just hang out on Beale Street, or I'll just hang out in the lobby. So we get to the Westin. I said, hey, I got a room for Sunday night. The guy that we talked on the phone was there. He goes, yeah. He goes, hey, man, I can't check you in till checkouts at, people start checking out at 9, and then we'll get you in as soon as we can afterwards. I was like, all right. So luckily we're on Beale Street. Beale Street is open until 5 in the morning. Me and Nate go to this club, and Nate knows everybody in Memphis that's open till like 5, 6 in the morning. And we're literally just kind of staying awake. So I don't want to drink because I don't want to be hungover. So we're just fucking pounding Red Bulls and sodas and water. Anything to stay awake. Club finally lets out at 5:30, and we sat next to like the DJ booth the whole night. And I was in no mood to go clubbing because my brother just passed away 2 days prior. So I'm still a little fucked up in the head. Like the stage was like my outlet, but I'm still depressed off stage. So we're just kind of just like trying to get through it. So then we go to the parking garage, and Nate was like trying to be a soldier, man. He was like, I would have you at my place, but he had a dog. I'm allergic. I have a little dog, but it's hyperallergenic. But like dogs that shed, like dogs and cats, I can't be around it. I just sneeze and cough, and I can't. So I couldn't go to Nate's because I was like, I'd be miserable. So Nate goes, I don't want you sleeping in my car. And he couldn't get a hotel room. So Nate was going to just like, we was going to pull the seat backs in his car and just pass out in the parking garage. And we got to about 6 a.m. and we're bullshitting. And I just told him, I said, hey, man, just take me to the Westin, drop me off. I can hang out in the lobby. I can eat breakfast at this point. I said, the guy's going to try to get me in as soon as he can. So I got there. I told the dude, I'm here, man. Is it cool if I hang out in the lobby? He goes, yeah, man. So I said, I'm going to get breakfast. So I went and got breakfast. And I'm on my laptop, and at least the Westin's a decent hotel. And I must have drank 5 lattes because Starbucks was in the hotel. And it got to the point where it was like noon. I still hadn't gotten in a room. And they're like, we're sorry, we're apologizing, we're sold out, nothing we can do. And they're telling me I'm the first one in. And I see the clean ladies pull in. I see everybody. Then I see people starting to finally come down out of the rooms. Long story short, I got in the room at 3 o'clock. My show's at 8, and we're an hour away. So I literally told them I only had one show, and I said, we're going to hold the show till 8:30. And I told my opener, go long. I'm going to get there about 9:15. And so I said I need some sleep. So I slept till 7:45. And I had to do one of those, force myself to sleep, shut the curtains, no TV, called Kenya, said, don't call me, I'm out. But it really wasn't that bad sitting in the lobby because it was a weird time in your life to have nowhere to go and to just be in your thoughts and be kind of stuck. I know it sounds weird, but it was I didn't mind it because I was still in this state of shock about my brother passing away. And I was just like, I remember the whole time I was online looking at people leaving messages on his Facebook and telling stories about him. And I was in a kind of a depressed state, but it was almost like it was helpful because it's just like I almost got caught up with all my memories with him for a couple hours just by myself in that hotel lobby. So it actually went by pretty fast. And I will say that Westin in Memphis, the customer service was second to none because they saw me sitting there and they knew he passed away. If you follow me on social media, I'd already posted about it, but they came over, checked on me. They gave me lunch coupons, apologizing for the delay. And they didn't have to. I mean, check-in is 3 o'clock. And it wasn't like I was making a big deal. I go, this isn't your fault. I go, I'm cool here. But the fact that they went above and beyond, the guy was like, hey man, if you want anything from the pantry, just grab it, like water, chips or something. I ain't going to charge you. I was like, I appreciate it. It was just cool, man. It was good customer service at that Westin. And that's why every time I go to Memphis, I mean, the Peabody's great too, but I always prefer the Westin just because it almost brings back good memories from that weekend. And then we went back and had to tell the casino, you got bed bugs and some other shit. You got bed birds in your goddamn room. And they thought I was going to go and bag on the casino that night about the hotel there, and I didn't. I just did my act, and the guy gave me some extra money. He reimbursed me for the hotel that I had to pay for the Westin. But that casino did something cool too. He felt bad, the casino did, so they gave me extra money to cover the hotel cost, and then they called the Westin and had my bill directly billed to the casino. So they did make it right, and I never bagged on them, and that's why I'm not saying what casino it is, because it's still there, and hopefully they got the bed bugs cleared out. I want to say it was just my room, but I got a feeling those bed bugs did not just sit in my room alone. But I'm glad Nate went to use the bathroom, because if he hadn't been there, I'd have been sleeping in that shit. I was so tired. So, all right, y'all. Well, that's just a couple minor road horror stories about me on the road. Like I said, currently I'm in Winnipeg, Canada, shooting a movie with Michael Jai White. It's called Welcome to Sudden Death. It's my first action movie. So this is pre-recorded, FYI. So if you want to be like, Gary, what the fuck? If something happened right now that I'm not commenting on, it's because this is taped. Sorry. All right. I'll see you guys next week. This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast. If you want to listen to my podcast, just go to iTunes, search Gary Owen, #GetSome.